Why do I stand up here? Anybody?
To feel taller.
No. Thank you for playing, Mr. Dalton. I stand upon my desk to remind myself that we must constantly look at things in a different way. You don't believe me? Come see for yourselves. Come on. Come on. Just when you think you know something, you have to look at it in another way. Even though it may seem silly or wrong, you must try. Now, when you read, don't just consider what the author thinks. Consider what you think. Boys, you must strive to find your own voice. Because the longer you wait to begin, the less likely you are to find it at all. Thoreau said most men lead lives of quiet desperation. Don't be resigned to that. Break out. Don't just walk off the edge like lemmings. Look around you.
Welcome to Successful Dropout. This podcast is for the outliers, the innovators, the rebels, those that dare to dream and act on their dreams. I'm your host, Kylan Ginger. Join me as we find out what it takes to drop out, grind, and succeed. What is up, Successful Dropouts? Get stoked because today on the show we have Mike Clum. Mike Clum is an entrepreneur, small business owner, and a phenomenal video producer. He dropped out of Miami University in 2011 and started Clum Creative, which has grown into a 6-person video production company, recording $500,000 in billing in 2016, and obviously growing. So Mike, man, that's the intro I have for you. I'm really excited we're able to talk finally, man. We had to reschedule a few times, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
What's up, man? Yeah. So Mike Clum, just do so much, dude. I do this business, Clum Creative. It's a blast. We make amazing videos. I just have a lot of fun in business, in life, doing what I love to do, working with awesome people, just being a beast, dude. So, just video production, media, just growing my business, lead generation, sales, creative, networking, podcasts, everything, all the time.
Yeah, awesome. And so I've got two questions for you. And unfortunately, we're talking over video here for those of you listening, so you can't see, but you look pretty young. How old are you?
I'm 23 years old. So I started my business when I was 18. I was just out of Lutheran West High School in Rocky River, Ohio. Just young guy. I was into golf and sports and powerlifting, actually, randomly, and I was just this young, energetic guy. Was not interested in business at all. And one day I met this dude. I just went to school, college, just because everyone did, and I didn't even think to not go to college. That would be wow. How could you not go to college?
So weird.
Yeah, everyone went to college, and so I went to college, Miami University. Followed a few friends there. I was in Cleveland, so it was 4 hours away, and it was just it was a cool school, whatever. And I went, and I was kind of making videos just for fun, just to kind of mess with people and kind of just create some conversation on Facebook. I just put up some crazy videos that me and my friends would make, and then I went to college. I started to do that. Then I met this dude who had a company, and that's the first way I was introduced to. He had a video business, so I was oh wow, that's really sick. Are you rich? I thought he was rich because he had a company. And then I don't know. Then from there I just hated school so much. Just hated it. I hated going to I went to 8 a.m. English class. They rode a bike there in the cold, and it was just miserable. And I just called my dad one day. I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna drop out. I'm gonna start a video business in Cleveland. Basically he was really angry. But I kind of did it anyway. I just kind of saw the vision, and that was 5 years ago. So literally December 27th, 2011, I incorporated as a Giant Panda Productions Incorporated. That was the original business name. And then that was 5 years ago yesterday.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That's phenomenal. And again, what do you've got going on behind you? Because it looks like, again, for those of you listening, it's
I'm in my office. I'm actually technically in my office and on the set of kind of this documentary we've been working on the side outside of the corporate stuff. So I do a lot of experimental, like fun, original content videos. I just throw up on YouTube and Facebook just to kind of test the waters with different things. So here I'm in the set of a conspiracy scene where, we've got these like newspaper clippings and wires connecting things.
Gotcha.
So it's a cool documentary conspiracy thing we were doing. So I'm kind of here. You can kind of see the wall with the map. It's kind of cool. So
okay, yeah. I wondered if it was like some sort of work process you
no,
had.
that's over there. They actually have a pretty cool work process. This is just like wall decorations almost.
It's part of a scene, huh? So do you specialize in any kind of a video? Or is it kind of all over the place?
I mean, when I started, I just did whatever. I mean, I made my first video, charged $50, and it wasn't good enough, so they didn't pay me. And then eventually I kept doing that, and I started to get paid $50 per video. This was 5 years ago. Then I raised my rates to $200. Actually, someone just offered me to pay me $200, so it was just kind of like naturally. Then I just did my first good video for $1,000. Then I did my so I did whatever in the beginning I could make any money because I wanted to drop out of school, so I wanted to justify the dropping out. So I just kind of did whatever I needed to do, and we don't really specialize at this point. We're kind of just we're very young in terms of kind of our processes and our niche. We do a lot of good work, lots of types of videos, animated videos, 3D videos, 2D animation. We do like live like videography. We do docu-style marketing pieces. So like we do a lot of video, and I think over time we'll kind of like find what we're like best at. But right now, like we do a lot of good work, so it's kind of hard to really determine that.
So you have a team of 6. Are a lot of those editors?
Yeah, so we've got myself. So I built the business model. I mean, for a while it was just myself. So I just sold, and I just edited, shot, whatever. And I didn't really think like a business person. So I didn't really have a business model for about the first 4 years. 4 years in, I was surrounding with a lot of good mentors who kind of always told me, Mike, your business model is shit, whatever, like you need this. And I just kind of ignored them. And then one day it really hit me when I was I was working around the clock, 20 hours, like literally 20 hours a day. I would wake up at 6 a.m., go to a shoot, finish at 3, go to a sales meeting from 4 to 5, get dinner, go back to the office from 6 to midnight, edit, do it again. And like I sold $350,000 that year, and I made all that money for myself because I didn't have to pay anyone. I was doing it all. I was billing $100 to $250 an hour, and I made a shit ton of money at 21, 22, and I thought I was being successful because of it until I realized, like, dude, you need to think like a business person. At that point, I actually ended up partnering up with another company. I got to see what their business processes were. I was just selling for them and kind of white labeling their services. They were good, so the clients were happy. And then after 2 months of that, I came away and was like, all right, let's hire operations manager, let's hire the labor, let's get someone to run the books and the finance. And I was kind of able to build out the model around the sales that I already had. And I built a process that now, a year and a half ago, it took Mike Clum 50 hours of his time to sell, shoot, plan, edit, deliver the video. Now I have a team that deploy against that, and they do a better job than I did. Never would have expected that. So I don't know what your original question was. It was something like, who's the team? So right now what that team looks like, it's me. There's an account manager who takes the lead and closes it. So if someone calls into our, hey, we got a referral, or from Google they found us, it calls in, they talk to Teddy. He'll kind of navigate that sale, kind of help connect them with the right option, give a proposal, close the business. He'll pass that to Mitch, who's our lead producer. Mitch will set up a kickoff meeting. He'll plan the whole video, and then he'll work with his team of 3 under him, Justin, Nolan, and Ian, who's a freelancer, and then they'll go out, they'll shoot, edit, deliver the video, and then we'll get the 5-star review at the end, and then we'll do it again. So right now, I'm the owner. There's our account manager, producer, 3 shooters and editors, and my dad who's kind of helping out with the finance. And that's it, dude. That's the business model right there.
I love it, man. So you were just kind of, it seems like maybe a year ago, maybe you started discovering how important the business systems and stuff were. And
exactly, dude. So I went from a year ago today, technically, I might have had 0 employees, maybe 1, because I had a time where in the past, I always hired 1 employee because I always felt the business was revolved around me. Like Mike Clum's good, therefore I need assistants. So right. I always hire an assistant, and they'd stay for like 6 months, and it never worked out because like I would never let them do anything. I was in the whole processes, and then one day, like I realized, and this is going to sound extreme, but that's not a business. You are a glorified like hot dog stand. Like you are, if you are the one-man team and you don't have a business model, you don't have a business yet. You don't even have a small business. You have a micro business. Like it's not a real model. And there's nothing against that, but it's just to be real with yourself. Like it's not scalable, and it's probably not, unless you love the tactics so much that you don't want to move out of that. Unless you build the model, it's all you're ever going to be is, you're not a business executive. You're a tech. You're a practitioner. You're a doctor. Yeah. You're a graphic designer, and that's fine. You can make $500,000 a year selling, or even less. You can make $100,000, $200,000 a year doing that, but don't it's just, you're not going to sell that business. You're not gonna do whatever. So I think that was the big shift for me, realizing what does a business really look like, what's a business model, and being able to. So that was the past year has been me creating that model first. Before that, learning the model, then kind of learning like the value of people and starting to build out a business model that can actually scale and grow and whatever.
I'm curious. So how was your passion for video producing? Was it, did it come up pretty early on in your life, or, how did you discover that? Did you ever think of starting any other type of business? You
No.
mentioned you were more entrepreneurial minded.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off. So, I think something I think about a lot, because when I like date myself, like go all the way back to when I'm in grade school, right? So I'm Mike Clum, I'm 8 years old. I'm like, my whole life is golf. Like I wanted to be Tiger Woods, right? That was my dream. That was my goal. I wanted to play in the PGA Tour. Then as I got older, I'm like, all right, maybe I'm not going to be Tiger Woods. Maybe I'll just like be a really good golfer, and I want to play college D1, and I want to win these tournaments. And so like but after that, after I wasn't really a golfer, I was really into powerlifting for like 4 months, and I became a powerlifting state champion randomly, and like because I just trained with, I just could squat a lot of weight, so I did that. Then after that, then I was like, all right, I'm not gonna, this is cool, that was fun, and then I got into video, and then I got into, so I was really into making videos, and I got really into business. So like my quote unquote passion. To answer your question, like, no, I never was passionate about video. Like I remember I did my high school senior video project and I hated it. Like it was a pain. Like I thought like editing and shooting was so boring and whatever. And I think over time, I think it's a really hard question to ask people, like, what's your passion? Because I think a lot of times it's not a tangible thing. Over time, what I've realized is my passion is the growth and expansion, right? I'm really passionate about like taking something and being able to grow with it, right? So like when I first started the business, I was really into like shooting and editing. Like I wanted to be a really good shooter and editor. Then that kind of got old to me. Then I wanted to like be a salesman. So then I really got into sales, but then that got old to me. Then I wanted to be a leader. Like how can I lead 50 people? So that's kind of what I'm on now, is like, how can I really dig into this leadership thing? And then I started to like, I really wanted to like be like an executive minded person. How can I like scale in a marketplace? What's my market share? What's this and this? So I think my passion was never video. It was growth and achieving and doing it something. I like video. I like media. I like, I think it's cool watching videos. Videos is cool. But the real passion is the growth and the expansion. That's what's fun. So I think for me, that it was an intangible passion, and I have an intangible passion, not a very tactical passion, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting point, actually, that I've never really thought about, is those intangible passions. Like growth, like building things.
Yeah,
that don't necessarily fit into a.
Yeah, what do you like to do? I like to grow. Like, all right, how do you grow every day? Like, oh, I can't wait for the day I can wake up. I can just grow every day. It's like very intangible. I think most people do, because like, all right, you like painters and graphic designers and like people that have very tactical things that they're actually passionate about. Okay, it's great. Like, do that. But like a lot of people don't. A lot of people like to help people. And that's really their passion. They don't really, and they're always looking for like, what do I want to do? What job do I want to pick? What career, business, or marketplace do I want to pick? A lot of times it doesn't matter. Like I know a lot of company owners who run logistics companies, and they love it. They love it. They're killing it. They're having a blast. Yeah. Do you think they're passionate about trucks? No.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about trucks. They just like I don't know, competition. They're wrestlers, and they're in staffing company. They like to beat people. So just kind of.
Oh, it's so true, dude. I know a guy just like that. He's in my mastermind. He runs a trucking logistics company, and
yeah, do you think
that almost describes him to a T.
Like, no, he doesn't care. Like, so like don't get too. I would say if you're listening to this, like don't get too like literal about your passions. Like when you're young, it's like, what do you like? Oh, I want to play basketball this winter, mommy. Like, yeah, you might like basketball, but like maybe you don't. Maybe you just like competition. So just go find something that you can compete in and beat people, and you're gonna have a blast. And try to combine some literal passions. Like if you like football a ton, you're not going to be in the NFL, but maybe like, I don't know, start, do something that, I don't know. I'm still. Yeah,
you obviously
figuring that out. I mean, I'm not going to act like I'm the master of finding what your passion is, because I'm still kind of toying with it today, and I this is all kind of a lot of it's new to me. But that's kind of like one thing I've definitely learned is that it's definitely not that tangible all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously don't hate producing videos, and you're obviously good at it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that that's actually, instead of that being your passion, that's just the mechanism that allows you to realize your passions.
Yeah, and a lot of people
really neat,
actually. I know a lot of people that do video production. That's what they love, and that's cool. And their business reflects that. I mean, they grow different types of businesses. They grow a business where they can shoot and edit, and that they would never want to grow beyond that, right? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone's a little different.
I love that. I think that's the main point. I think I'd love to pull out of this podcast and the show notes and stuff, because too often I think I do this all the time. When you're searching for a passion or something to do, you think so compartmentalized and so it's got to be something really tangible, like video production or construction or
like
name your industry.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I'm curious. So let's go a little bit more now to your dropout story and when you were in college and that whole decision. Was your decision to drop out, was it based more on the fact that you were doing video, you realized that you had the potential to create something really cool, but in order to do that you had to drop out? Or was it more because of you just did not fit into the system? Or was it a little bit of both? I mean, another way to phrase the question, if you hadn't been making videos and didn't have really an idea that something like that would take off, would you still look for a way to drop out?
So I'll get really detailed, because I kind of skim over the dropout story when I'm just kind of telling it quickly.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, really what happened was I was at Miami University, and I really realized I hated Miami University because it's in the middle of nowhere and there's nothing to do. I was not really into partying. I didn't really have a lot of really good, a lot of my friends, were good friends, but I didn't I was getting interested in very specific things that they weren't interested in. So I was developing these tactical passions that I didn't really align with anyone I knew down there. And I was I spent a lot of time alone. I'm like, why am I here? Like, I don't want to like study here. I don't want to get a degree. So I was like, all right, I'm going to move back to my hometown and I'm going to go to school there and I'm going to start a business. So I didn't like just drop out with nothing. Like I didn't drop out and start the business the day after I drop it out. I wouldn't even recommend that. What I did is I dropped out, or I moved back to Cleveland and I went to CSU. And then I incorporated my business. And for the first 6 months, I moved back, and then the first thing I did was ask my friend who was in a band if he wanted a music video. So in a way, what that was proof of concept. What I did was I went back and I said, all right, I'm a video production company. I am going to deliver a video to someone I know, and I'm going to, I'm going to do it for free, but if they can pay me $50 just to cover gas or whatever, I'll do it, right? So I came in and the video sucked and whatever. And at the same, so fast forward.
Hey, can we find that video anywhere?
I can send you a link. They took it down. It was the band, they released it. Like their top comment on his YouTube was like, this video is total shit. And they took it down. So I just felt so dumb. So anyways, so fast forward 8 months. So 8 months after this video was total shit moment, I had done a semester and a half of college. And in the meantime, during that 8 months, I actually got sort of good at video production. I was doing, my niche was like hip hop videos in Cleveland because those people, I don't know, I didn't intend to just naturally happen. Like I knew a few rappers. They hired me, paid me like a couple $100. I started to get kind of good. My name was starting to get known in the Cleveland hip hop scene, whatever. So that's that. Just kind of happened. And I was at my second semester of school, just kind of, taking as little credit hours as I could. And I got to the point where I was making probably $500 to $1,000 a month with my business. This was all cash, right? And at the same time, what happened was I still had this notion that if I went to school and got a film degree, at the end of the film degree, I would be good at video. And I saw the film degree as something that was in alignment with my future, right? So that's the only reason I was still there. I'm like, you know what? Like, it's bullshit, but it's still going to help me. So what happened was I was sitting in the lobby of the film program at the school. And I'm, CSU, I love, great school, whatever. But this is just my personal story. Other people will have different renditions. But I was sitting in the lobby, and here on the screen in this lobby of the film program was senior video projects started to play. And the title came up, and I'm like, sweet. I get to see what I'm going to be so good like these guys. I can't wait to see these projects. And the video started, and they were shit. And literally, it was like the 19-year-old version of like realizing Santa Claus is not real. Like it hit me at that moment. I'm like, wait, what I'm doing at this school is not in alignment with where I need to go. And between that and between I was already making enough to literally like live at all. I was making maybe $600 a month. Like you can like scrape by on $600 a month. So I had a proof of concept, and I could see that there were other production companies out there that were making corporate videos that were like, making big, at least what I thought was big bucks at the time. And I'm like, oh, okay, so there's that. I'm making this. I realized that this shit's not going to help me at all. I know that. And obviously my parents were like totally against it, but like I knew in my gut, and I knew like, if I'm honest with myself, this shit is not helping me at all. So I just stopped going. One day I just didn't go to class, and I didn't even drop out. I literally just stopped going, and the semester was paid for. My dorm was paid for, everything paid for, just like stopped. And a couple weeks later, I had I just casually brought up my dad, freak out. And at that moment, the big shift was I got cut off financially. I mean, they're still, it's all good now, and, they didn't like disown me, but it's like, hey, we're not going to give you money anymore. right? So back then they might have like, you know, helped me with gas or helped me with some food or whatever. And that's when everything changed. That's when I was like, oh shit, I can't be making $600. I need to make 1,500, 2,000. You know, I need to grow. I need to make some money. So that was about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And that's when I was, so to really answer your question, that's the whole story. But the sequence of events was first identifying I hate college, then starting the business to set up my practical lifestyle so that I was approving the concept of the business to make some money, then identifying, then having enough money, then dropping out. Dropping out was easy. Just literally, here's how you drop out. Just don't go to class the next day. Like, don't go to class the next day. That's just like fail your classes and then you're done. And then live off the $1,000 a month you're making and then just grow it from there.
And so now, of course, things are patched up with your parents and stuff like that.
My dad does my books now, so it's literally.
Oh right, yeah, you mentioned that.
The whole thing is flipped. It's all good, and as long as you can like bite the bullet. And like, here's the other thing that was like, really like irritates me that this is even something to even have brought up. I came from and I'm sure a lot of I'm from a Midwest private school, like kind of community thing. Or like, you know, everyone in my high school, everyone in kind of my community that I came from, dropping out of school was this like horrible thing. And I have my friends and my friends' parents and my parents and their friends and this, and like everyone I have to kind of like answer to. And dropping out of school socially and psychologically probably was it's like social suicide where I came from. Like if you dropped out of school, especially like I was, you know, not to be classist or anything, but like, you know, I was a well-off kid. I went to a nice private school. Like it was not applauded to drop out. Like you were a loser. Like there are literally rumors. They're like, I was like selling drugs and doing this, like, oh
no way,
like crazy shit. And like, it was really hard because then like you become this, because then you're talking to people less. And like, your confidence is low too. My confidence has skyrocketed since then. I mean, but like when you're 18, 19, it's a very vulnerable time, you know, socially, just regardless of if whatever, but then you drop out of school and then you're doing this thing that everyone's like, what do you even do? And like, that was really hard to kind of fight through that. And because especially you're going to spend a ton of time, you're not going to be hanging out with your friends as much. They're going to be like, what's he even doing? So like, if you're listening to this and you're like, it's going to be fucking hard because, you know, like not only is doing the tactical element of the business hard, but like if you're not tough, you're going to feel really much like a loser because, you know, like not everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, drop out and like grow this business that we don't understand. No, people are going to talk shit. And like, it's just what people do. People talk shit like about everything, and they're going to talk shit about your business. They're going to talk shit about your whatever. But here's the key: if you get through everyone, the reason they talk shit is because they care about you. They don't want you to be broke. And everyone else will say they talk shit, use it as motivation and like, you know, prove them wrong. No, that's lame. That's a weird, like, you know, bitter motivation. I don't want that type of motivation. Like, they're going to talk shit because they care about you. Just go make money with your business. The second I brought in $10,000 a month, any level that I was like supporting myself, and I could in a conversation say, hey man, yeah, I started this business and now I do this. It all stopped. Everyone stopped talking shit. And because they weren't even talking shit in the first place, they were just confused for good reason. Like, you know, like a lot of businesses are dumb and people shouldn't start them. So I think the key is, if you're going to drop out, prepare for the ridiculous, excruciating, like psychological pressure that's around dropping out and starting a business when you're 18, and really step one is to like provide for yourself with money. So get to the point where you're making money and everyone will kind of shut up and it'll all go back to normal again. Your parents won't care. Your friends won't care. It'll just be like normal. And then that's kind of baseline. That's like 30. But for me, it was 30,000 in revenue yearly. I was able to make like a job, like just an entry level, like hourly job for myself. Then that's kind of when things calmed down. So I kind of went off on a tangent, but that's kind of like my experience, I guess.
No, I love it, man. Great getting into the details there and the story. Moving on a little bit more about your entrepreneurial journey, what would you consider to be your worst entrepreneurial moment to date? Tell us the story of that.
So there's some that are like very detailed and small. Like I've done a ton of dumb shit. Like just I've like screwed over some of my not partners in the business, but like screwed over some vendors that I've had, and just kind of like done some dumb mistakes. Just kind of how I've ran my business. I've done dumb stuff. I've sent out some really stupid emails. This really stupid little stuff. Probably. Yeah. And that stuff, it doesn't matter. That just like try not to be just totally stupid. So that's there's like just, and those things you just learn quickly from. Oh wait, don't send that type of email again. Whatever. So I don't even want to talk about that. The biggest mistake that I ever made, that if I was 18 again and I could go back and do again, would be this. When you are 18, when you start a business, at least from my perspective, a lot of it is like, oh, you assume the best of what you do, and you assume you don't always think so big. So when I started my video production company, I started it because I had happened to already be somewhat interested in video, and I saw a video, and I didn't think. The one thing I didn't do was market research, and I never wrote a business plan. And as much as like these entrepreneurial whatever people say, oh, you don't need a business plan, dude. Just get it going. Hustle, man. Just hustle out there, dude. Like, cool. That will work fine. But if I would have wrote a real business plan at 18, oh man, I would have I would be 5 times the size. I would have sped up 5 years of my life. And because here's why. I got into a market, Northeast Ohio video production services, that I assumed was much bigger than I actually didn't even think about what's the market size. I assumed I could just grow my business infinitely. And if you're starting a business, figure out what you're getting yourself into. What is the market? Is the market $10 million? Or is the market 100 million? Or is it $1 billion? And what's the barrier to entries? What are the competitors doing? Who owns the market share? After 1 year, what piece of the market share will you need? What's your business model? Who's playing what? How much revenue are you going to get? Who are you hiring? What people are you going to hire? What's your all these things? Yeah. Don't figure them out as you're going to figure out as you go, but at least get a picture of, if you're going to fight for a piece of some pie, how big is the pie? Is it 10 million bucks? Don't expect to grow a $20 million hot dog stand if the hot dog market in Cleveland is $1 million. How much money do people spend on hot dogs? But no, it's so real. I started a video production company in Cleveland thinking that I could grow a $20 million company. Bro, no, literally, mathematically impossible. It's like the market, people do not and don't try to mess with the market size. You're not gonna shift the whole market unless you did literally invented something so innovative. So if you're entering a traditional market with a traditional business model, like you're starting a juice stand, you're starting a restaurant or this or this or this or this, yep. Don't think you're better than the market. Figure out the market size, do some research, figure out your competitors, figure out why they're good, how long it's taken them to get their market share you have, and then be realistic with what your growth is going to be in that market and plan accordingly. And if I would have done that from the beginning, I would have lowered my expectations of growth in my market. I had these really huge audacious, I don't even know the word, big growth goals that literally would have meant I had 150%. Would have meant I had like 150% market share. That's impossible. It's impossible. I was like, bro, like what? So just think more realistically. Think still, the biggest mistake I made, to answer your question, was I didn't respect the market, and I didn't do my market research. I didn't plan big enough. I didn't learn anything. I just thought like, oh, I can do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. I'll do this. And then it took me 5 years to learn something that I could have done in a weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. And I've created business plans before, and actually for those of you listening, if you are interested in creating a business plan, I think it's liveplan.com, LIVE plan.com is a great resource, and I'll have that in the show notes. But they make it super easy, and I think it's like $20 a month. But I put together a few business plans, and it's very helpful in one sense. In another sense, you don't always stick to them. Especially if you're doing like a 5-year plan or something. I've noticed, maybe year 1, but once you get to year 2 and year 3, sometimes your expectations were a little off. And so I'm wondering, in your opinion, I mean, when you create a business plan, do you expect to stick with that? I mean, is that a plan, and do you give room for, if things just don't work out as planned?
Sure. So the first step in any business, in my opinion, is proof of concept, right? So my proof of concept was I sold a video for $50, and I saw, all right, people pay money for video. Like, all right, I get it. I don't recommend, unless you're a very experienced businessman and you really can understand markets and you get it and you understand the tactical stuff. You can't write a business plan day one because you don't even know enough about business. So for me, probably it would have taken 6 months, even a year of doing tasks, growing the business to 30,000 to even have enough knowledge to even know what a business plan even is.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I wrote a business plan for my business class, and I didn't conceptually even understand the purpose. There's a difference between a growth plan and a business plan. A business plan, in my opinion, it's kind of like how I define it. I have a 2017 business plan. It's actually, you're not gonna be able to see it, but it's right here. It's on my desk. And what this is, so your question was, can you say your question again so I don't go off too far?
It is basically,
because
I'm not even exactly sure how to phrase it, except for I've created business and I think you answered it. I've created business plans.
Oh yeah.
And it was from day one. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. I didn't know enough even to write a business plan until 4 years into the business, because I had to learn even how to do anything before I could start thinking like an executive. An executive or thinking like an investor. An investor thinks, hey, here's a market. Where is the spending habits, and how can I create a business? How can I put my money, my $1 million, into buy a business in a market, and how can we compete with the growth of that market, just literally growth by market spending, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a super high level way to look at business. It's literally the way an investor looks at business. Now, a step down, I think, is an executive, right? So this is how can I leverage people in a business, in a market, and how can I lead a team that's going to produce a profit? So my business plan right here, it's just for next year. And this is very tactical stuff. I'm not thinking too big. I'm not thinking too far out. It's like, all right, what's the purpose of this year? What are we? What areas are we serving? What's our client customer, or what's our profile customer? What's the background of our business? What's kind of the trends that we've had? And what market are we serving? How big? You can see here's the pie chart of the total market share. Where are we at? Who are all the top accounts in my market? Who are all my top competitors? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? How many employees do they have? What's their revenue? What are the top accounts? Who are all the top accounts in the marketplace? And then how much revenue are we projecting, right? So last year I did 500,000. I'll leak some info. If you're any competitors out there listening, I'm going for 750,000 next year. That's 50% growth, right? And in this 750,000, I'm gonna give you all the details. I have budgeted. What are my total costs of goods sold? What are my total? And I break my COGS down into 4 different categories. How much of that 750,000 goes to how much my costs are? No, in order to have that, I have to have a system that tracks my COGS. So that's my billing system and this and this and this. And then what's my gross profit? All right, how much overhead do I have? What's my net EBITDA? Earning before depreciation, taxes, and interest, or whatever. I might have butchered that.
Right.
So like this is all like shit that you had business class and you ignored, and I did too. It's real. Don't be too. I'm sorry, but most of you probably listening aren't Mark Zuckerberg. You probably don't have Facebook, so you need to know COGS and overhead and utilization rate of employees, and you need to know like your EBITDA and this, because you're not good enough that you can skip that over. If you invented like fucking the craziest thing in the world that's gonna rattle it, you can just hire people. But if you're like me, I'm doing video production, dog. Like that's not that innovative. I need to be a CFO. I need to know this shit. So that's my business plan. My business, and then then it takes into account. All right, what are my technology needs for the year? What are my marketing needs for the year in order to hit those things? What's the team look like at 750,000? What's my team now? What's my business model and how much am I paying each person? And what's my profit targets? What's the check I'm going to write myself at the end of the year of the profit? A plan for profit. Don't just randomly go run your business and hope you have a certain amount of profit at the end. And everything. Yeah. How can I innovate in leadership, talent? I've wrote all these things down. Wow, dude, I'm running out of breath. But and then how am I structuring the business to make sure I'm hitting those targets from a daily to a weekly to a quarterly system, and who's responsible for each area of the business? Who's responsible for sales? Who's responsible for the sales targets, for the operations targets, for the financial targets, and how am I building that model? Anyways, the point is, I don't know shit about what I'm doing in 3 or 5 years because I'm not smart enough. I can barely figure out a quarter. So I'm just real with myself. I need to execute this year, and I know my market share, where my market share is going to be at the end of the year, and then from there I can reassess. All right, now I know a bit more. I know what I learned this year. What can I do next year? And how can I start to plan bigger and maybe innovate into new markets or this or that? So the point of and that's different from a growth plan or a vision, where am I going to be in 5-10 years? I would argue most young entrepreneurs aren't smart enough to even start thinking like that. Create a very practical plan that you can execute on in 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. Put that plan in front of a lot of people that are smarter than you and can try to poke holes in it, and then just do that, and then you'll learn. Don't try to go and be like, oh, I'm going to grow a $100 million company by this date. Dude, you don't even know what the hell you're talking about. That's like a little kid. That's the same thing as when I was 8 years old saying, I want to be Tiger Woods. Wait, dude, do you even know what that means? That means you would have to be winning these tournaments like this. Just realize that you're 18, 19, you're thinking of dropping out of school. You're not that smart, and neither was I, and I'm not that smart either. Just show respect for business and financials and this and this and this, and take it step by step. And I think if you do that, your business plan will be worth it. And put your business plan in front of other people and try to get people to poke holes in your stuff.
Yeah, you answered my question and more. That's exactly what I was trying to get to. Because for us, for a couple of our businesses, we created business plans for those businesses in the first couple months before we even made our first sale, before we even opened the doors. And it was really difficult to create those because we just hadn't, and they weren't that accurate, to be honest, because we hadn't been in the business long enough to know what was going on.
You don't know it. Especially in markets.
So, yeah.
Especially in markets that, if you're starting something that doesn't exist, it's way harder to write a business plan. It's a little bit easier in, if you wanted to start a logistics company, you can, pretty much, all right, what's the market in Cleveland? What's this? It's kind of easier. And especially, it's even way harder if you've never even ran and sold and grown a real business before, you don't even you're like you don't even know where to begin. So proof of concept is like is huge.
Love it, man. Well, we are getting close on time here. I want to kind of move into more of the lightning round. What is a personal habit that contributes to your success, Mike?
I think a habit of thought, the habit thinking outside of yourself. And it's hard when you get really good at something. I think I've developed a habit of not including myself in the business from a theory standpoint. So I think developing that habit of like thinking beyond you. So if you're a graphic designer and you want to grow a big agency, don't include yourself in the business. So just the habit of thinking like an executive and thinking like a true business owner. That habit you kind of need to ingrain, because early on it's not, you got to do it yourself, but you got to train yourself to have the habit of thinking like a real executive.
Yeah. Do you read much? And if so, is there a book that you'd recommend to us?
I don't read often. I might have read like 1 or 2 books in the past few years.
What's kind of your mechanism for personal growth then?
I learn a lot for myself, to be honest. Yeah. I think when you want something so bad, like I want to grow so bad because I'm just so excited and passionate about it, and you create these constructs in your mind, like that's the truth, and then you go after it so hard, and then like boom, you hit, and you realize like that's not the truth. You kind of start to figure out these concepts for yourself. And then I honestly use books or articles as kind of reaffirming what I'm already thinking. Like I read one book, it was called The One Thing, and it was about, I only read about 60% of it or whatever, but it was about how there's basically one thing at every moment and every day that you could do that could make the most impact. So you should always focus most of your time on that one thing, right? And that was something I was kind of already thinking about, like, what's the most important thing to work on? And then I saw that book. I'm like, that's kind of in alignment with what I'm thinking a lot. And like, it kind of reaffirms it and gives me some more clarity of words around it. But I think blindly seeking advice when you're not ready to take it in and it's not something you're already seeking out is at least for me, is hard to like embrace. Like, I'm sure there's something I'm doing wrong right now that's in some book that could show me that, but I'm not really going to be ready to take that advice on until I hit a wall. And, so when you learn it for yourself, it's so real. And when I read books, it's just, it's not that effective for me. So my sense of my way of learning is just trying really hard.
Yeah. And that might speak to just the different ways people learn. It's difficult to think that in order to learn or get better or develop more personally, you have to constantly be reading, read like a book a day or a book a week, like some people do. But I think, for somebody like yourself.
Yeah, I honestly, if you are going to do that, and like, I'm just going to totally plug him right now. I don't like watch Ty Lopez stuff. It just happens to come up like everywhere on YouTube. Yeah. But like, I think he just invented this thing called the mentor box. I'm not sponsored by it. I don't pay for it, but it's this thing where like they send you like a book summary a day or something.
Oh yeah.
I would rather do that than to read a whole book. Cause like, I think if you are going to read books, why do you have to read the whole thing? Like, why can't you just read like a chapter or like,
the Cliff Notes version?
No, seriously. Like what's the difference? Like, I'm sure there is some difference. But like, I would rather do that. I would rather just kind of read concepts and kind of get like, just get to the gist and like, oh, okay, that kind of reaffirms it, But like for me, I don't read a lot. So I mean, but yeah, like buy Ty Lopez's mentor box and you can get like a book a day or something. I don't know.
Yeah, well, some people just learn more from experience than they do, and going out, trying things, making mistakes, and learning from that, than they do, reading what other people have done, and then basically just applying those principles along the way to make sure they don't make any mistakes. If
you have the discipline, I think honestly, if you have the discipline and the ability to do that, that's amazing. Like, because honestly, if you could like literally just read books and just like, accumulate all the knowledge and like instantly implement it, like you would be unstoppable. Because all the people that wrote those books are like probably really smart.
Yeah.
But I just it's really hard to like, because like I read the Bible as a kid, in my Lutheran grade school. Like, yeah, I'm probably like helped form my worldview, but like I'm not Jesus. I didn't like immediately assimilate all that information. So I think it's like there's so many factors. I know a lot of people that read a ton and are dumb. Like they can't do shit. And they just like they're literally sitting around like looking for knowledge their all day, just trying to learn and learn and learn and learn. In the meantime, like I'm not reading shit and I'm like outsmarting them at every corner. So like I don't know. I think in my opinion, overall, people overestimate the importance of like learning and knowledge from a just reading standpoint. Yeah. I think it's overhyped. It's still important, but I think it's like so overhyped.
Right. Yeah. Okay, last two questions here. What parting advice do you have for any of our listeners who are thinking of dropping out, but they haven't quite made that step yet, and maybe they're considering more of the entrepreneurial direction, starting their own business?
Well, I'll start the business and then sell some stuff. And then like just drop out once you can support yourself. Or don't listen to me and just drop out, and like you might be able to work that out too. Like, but I think, yeah, I would just say like start to sell. Yeah. Every business nothing starts until you sell something.
Yeah.
Nothing. So prove your concept at the smallest level, even if it's an app, and even if you don't even have the product yet, you can still prove the concept. If you want to make an app that delivers water to people, just start by starting like a water delivery service on your campus and deliver some water. See if people even want water delivered, right? I don't know. Like, just, you can always prove your concept even if you don't have anything.
Yeah, love it. And on the flip side of that, what parting advice do you have for any of our listeners who are more where you're at and have already dropped out and they're already on that entrepreneurial journey?
Create a business plan. Stop thinking so emotionally. Stop avoiding finance. Embrace finance. Be a CFO. Learn all about numbers. Be driven by numbers. Yeah. Write a plan. Build a model. Get people, understand your business and all your numbers. If I ask you, hey, what's your projected net at 2017? You should know. What's your overhead? This. You should know the exact number. You should know everything about your business, because you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your employees, you owe it to your own future to just be able to be driven in numbers and know what you're doing. You owe it to your future kids or your wife or whatever. Just like know your shit.
Yeah. What's the best way that people can get a hold of you?
Google. So I'm using some people like Google me. Mike Clum. There's an auctioneer named Mike Clum. So just go to my website and click it. So I get higher on Google to beat the auctioneer. Also, you can Google, video production company or Cleveland video production company. And chances are we're coming up pretty damn high because we the best. And Twitter, Google plus me, Twitter me, Facebook me, YouTube me, text me, call me, anything. I'm all over. And Facebook. I use Facebook the most.
Awesome, man. Well, Successful Dropouts, you've been hanging out with Mike and Kylan, learning what it takes to drop out, grind, and succeed. And for everything we talked about today, head over to successfuldropout.com and type type Mike into the search bar and the show notes will pop right up. And as always, stay hungry, stay foolish. Successful Dropouts, if you could go to iTunes and leave a positive rating and review, it would help this show out a lot. I know you're busy, I know you got a lot going on, but if you do that, it helps this podcast rank, it helps other people listen to it and gain value just like you have been. Thank you so much in advance.